Hare Krishna. Welcome everyone for the Sunday morning session on the science and the journey of self-discovery. Before we begin, let's offer our praise to Prabhupada and Lord Krishna. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Shri Radha Vrindavan Chandra ki jai, Shri Shri Nitai Gauranga ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande. So today we are going to begin with a new topic, the bona fide spiritual master. It's a topic wherein Prabhupada is going to explain about the various qualities of the bona fide spiritual master. Bona fide means authorized, authentic spiritual master. In the last session, we have discussed about how Prabhupada said the so-called fake gurus were there. And they were all cheating people by giving some mantra, by telling some process, by taking money and not giving the authorized, authentic process for spiritual progress and giving them the path of salvation, right? So Prabhupada is now going to describe about the various symptoms and qualities of the bona fide spiritual master. All these discussions are happening by the inspiration of His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada, who is the founder Acharya of the worldwide Hare Krishna movement. It's gone. So this is a lecture Prabhupada has given just to give a preamble of this whole sessions we're going to have next few sessions. The spiritual master will never say, I am God. The spiritual master will say, I am servant of God. Addressing the student body of Stockholm University in September 1973, Srila Prabhupada delineates the 8 principal features that, according to Vedic teachings, characterize a genuine spiritual master and thus enable us to distinguish the saint from the charlatan. Right? So this is a lecture Prabhupada has given in 1973 in September in Stockholm, Sweden. One of the universities is speaking and addressing the students. There he's telling about the symptoms, qualities of a genuine guru. Right? So guru will never say I am God. He'll always say I am servant of God. And he will make everybody how to become servant of God. That's the point. Okay, let's continue. So Prabhupada begins his talk by telling how we can transfer ourselves to Vaikuntha Loka. That is the purpose of life, purpose of human form of life especially. So Prabhupada begins, in order to enter into spiritual life, 2 things are required. Right now, what life we are leading is called material life, wherein we are busy in trying to maintain our body and people around us, or all our relatives, their bodies, in sort of a understanding that yes, we are bodies and bodies have to be taken care. This is the understanding we are living in. It's called material life or bodily conception of life. Whereas spiritual life means when you understand, I am not the body, I am spirit soul. As part and parcel of Krishna, I am supposed to be doing devotional service to Krishna. And that way, go on in this life, and then Krishna assures that you will go back to spiritual world at the end. So in order to enter into spiritual life, Prabhupada says 2 things are required. What are they? As enunciated by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, one needs the mercy of the Supreme Lord and the mercy of the spiritual master. Right? So this is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has said. One is mercy of Supreme Lord and mercy of spiritual master. Both are simultaneously required. It's a statement by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Lord Krishna's, who is Krishna himself, who has come 500 years ago in this Kali Yuga. Brahmanda Brahmite Kono Bhagyavan Jiva Guru Krishna Prasade Paya Bhakti Lata Bija. The living entities are wandering throughout the universe, changing bodies, transmigrating from one body to another, from one place to another, and from one planet to another. This is what is going on. The living entities are going on, wandering throughout the universe. They are changing bodies, transmigrating. Means we are right now, we've got a human body. Next life, some other body will get. Previous life, what body we have, we don't know. And where we are going to be born, where we were born, previous life, we don't know. Like this, we are wandering throughout the universe, changing bodies and transmigrating from one body to another, one place to another, one planet to another. Life is going on like this. Brahmanda Brahmite. They are rotating within this material universe. This science is unknown to the modern educators. How the spirit soul is transmigrating from one body to another, and how he is being transferred from one planet to another. Right? This is a science, actually. The modern educators or scientists don't know this. Our spirit soul is transmigrating from one body to another. Even, in our own case, you see, from childhood up to now, we have changed so many bodies. In fact, at the time of when we leave this body fully, then we'll get one more body. How all is happening is mystery for everybody in this material world. But we have explained this in our book, Easy Journey to Other Planets. This has been very nicely explained in one of the books Prabhupada has written very early. Before even he went to the Western countries, Prabhupada wrote a book called Easy Journey to Other Planets. In fact, the Guru can help you transmigrate from this planet directly to the spiritual sky, Vaikuntha Loka, where there are innumerable spiritual planets. The point is, if you go on wandering here, there, sometime going to heavenly planet, sometime on the earth planet, sometimes going down in the subterranean planets, like this, we are wandering here and there. But our actual resting place is spiritual world, Vaikuntha Loka it is called. There we have left our home and we are going on wandering here and there. It's like when you are on travel or some tour, you may travel for a few days, but finally you want to go back to your home, right? Not that for forever you'll be traveling, or whole life you'll be traveling. No. You have to go back home. That is the whole point. Prabhupada always said, going to Vaikuntha means going back to home, our home, original home, spiritual world. That's the point. So, Guru can help us to transmigrate from whichever planet we are in, whichever body we are in. Directly we can go to the spiritual sky, Vaikuntha Loka, where there are innumerable spiritual planets. The topmost planet in the spiritual sky is Krishna's planet, called Goloka Vrindavana. Right. So, in the spiritual sky, there are so many spiritual planets, innumerable. The topmost spiritual planet is called Goloka Vrindavana, where Krishna is personally residing. So, Guru is going to help us to take us to that planet. The Krishna consciousness movement is trying to give information of how one can be transferred directly to the Goloka Vrindavana planet, Krishna Loka. That is our mission. That's what Krishna consciousness movement is doing. Right? It is giving us information. You can transfer yourself to the highest spiritual planet called Goloka Vrindavana. Now Prabhupada explains what is material world and what is spiritual world. What is the difference between this material world and spiritual world? The difference is that in the material world, you have to change your body, although you're eternal. Very important point. It will reflect on this point. Right now, you see, much against your wish, you're growing old. And nobody wants to die. Right? Everybody wants to go on as long as possible. But we know we have to leave this body one day. So this inherent desire or inherent feelings of staying permanently, eternally is from the soul within us. Soul has three features. Sat, Chit, Ananda. Sat means eternal existence. Chit means full of knowledge. And Ananda means bliss, joyfulness. So we are always seeking for eternal existence, complete knowledge of things, whatever we can know on this in this world, and a blissful, joyful, lovable life, right? But much against our wish, we had a good family, we had a good, friend circle, everybody, but we have to part from them when we leave this body. So, material world means you are forced to change your body. Although as spirit soul, we are eternal. This is a statement from Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says, Ajo nitya shashvatoyam purano na hanyate anyamane sharire. Krishna says, for the soul there is neither birth nor death at any time. He has not come into being, does not come into being, and will not come into being. Actually, soul has no birth and death. He is eternal, ever existing, unborn, primeval. Soul doesn't die when the body dies. What dies is, what is vanquished is the body. This is the point. This is what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. You are not destroyed after the annihilation of your material body, but you transmigrate to another body, which may be one of the 84 lakh forms. Right? This is the whole point. You are not destroyed after the annihilation of your material body, but you transmigrate to another body. So basically, as spirit soul, we are not met with any destruction. Krishna says, the soul cannot be burned by fire or withered by wind, or it cannot be, it cannot melt with water. No, it can never be destroyed. Body can be subject to any type of a destruction. But you transmigrate to another body. Soul always goes. Just like recently, with regard to the plane crash which happened in Ahmedabad. Yes, the whole plane was, like fully engulfed by fire and everybody ablaze and then fully burnt. Bodies were so charred that nobody could identify the bodies also. By DNA test, they were able to identify, oh, this is the dead body of this person. But the body would have gone through a lot of damage with regard to the fire and other things. The soul has not got, nothing has happened. Soul has left and taken one more body. This is called transmigration. This is what Prabhupada is saying. This is the difference between material world and spiritual world. Material world, you are forced to take one more body, and the next body, what you're going to take, will be in one of the 8.4 million forms. Right? One of the forms you will get the next body. Prabhupada now describes what are these 84 lakh different forms or 8.4 million forms. Jalaja Navalakshani. There are 9 lakh forms in the water. Just see, this is what scriptures say. The water, there are 9 lakh aquatics, different types of fishes and so many other varieties of entities in the water. And there are 20 lakh forms of trees and plants, 2 million forms of trees and plants, so many varieties. Only we may know only few, right? Few thousands or few, 1 lakh or something maximum. But here 20 lakhs it is mentioned here in the scriptures. And there are 11 lakh forms of insects, 1.1 million forms of insects. Further it is mentioned, there are 1 million forms of birds. Just see, 9 lakh forms of aquatics. Then you will go back. We had and 20 lakh forms of trees, right? Then 9 plus 20 is 29. Then we have 11 lakhs of insects. 29 plus 11 is 40. Then we have 10 lakh forms of birds. Let's see. So it becomes 50. Then 50 lakhs. Now 30 lakh forms of different beasts, animals. 50 plus 30 is 80. Then human form is 4 lakh forms, different types of forms. Not only on this planet, all over the universe, different universes. So like this, then you get a human form. Now it is your choice whether to be transferred again by the cycle of transmigration from one body to another in the lower species of life. Now your responsibility. Whether you want to elevate from human life to spiritual life, human body to spiritual body, or you go on again going through different species of life in the material world, transmigrating from one body to another body, a lower species. It is left to you. Choice is, so human body is a sort of a junction. You will have a choice what to do, or whether to be transferred to the spiritual sky. You can go on transmigrating in the material world only, or go to spiritual world with a spiritual body. You can go to the highest spiritual planet known as Golok Vrindavana. That is your choice. So everything is in our hands. What do you want to do? Very simple. So now Prabhupada explains like this, as a living entity, as a spirit soul, we have a choice, especially in human form of life, to elevate ourselves to spiritual world or continue to be in the material world, transmigrating in different bodies. So what is samsara? Prabhupada explains. You have been given the chance of this human form of body to make your choice. Right? Just now we discussed. Whether to elevate yourself to spiritual world with spiritual body, or continue to exist in the material world, transmigrating in different 84 lakh species of life. In the lower species, you are completely under the control of material nature. But when the material nature gives you a chance to get this human form of body, you can choose whatever you like. Right? In the lower species, what happens? You are completely driven by certain instincts. Material nature is conducting you. Right? Nonsense. But when you get a human form, you got a better options, better choice. Just like you have more money in your pocket, then you have more options to purchase things. You don't have money, then whatever somebody is giving, you have to be happy with that. It's like that. So Gita, Bhagavad Gita confirms this. Yanti devavrata devan pitran yanti pitavrataha bhutani yanti bhuteja yanti madhyajino pimam. Those who are trying to be elevated to the higher planets, Deva Loka, or the planets of the demigods, where the standard of living and the lifespan are very great, may worship the demigods. Right? You can, in the material world means what all can happen, Krishna is telling. If you worship Devatas, you'll go to Devata Loka. Again, it's part of the material world only. Elevated, life, but not liberated life. Liberated life is spiritual world. So if you worship Devatas, Krishna says, you get a Devata body, go to Devata Loka, wherein the lifespan, the standard of life is much higher. Or if you want, you may be transferred to the Pitru Loka also. Pitru Loka means where there are ancestors in the different forms of, they don't settle bodies. They're all there in the Pitru Loka. Or you can go to the planet of the ghosts also. Bhutani Adi Bhute. There are spirits. There are some planets in this material world where there are spirits, ghosts, jinns, right? If you worship ghosts, it's like the black art, tantras people practice. They worship some ghosts, spirits. So they go to those planets where such ghosts and spirits are staying. And Krishna says, if you worship me, you can go to the Krishna Loka. You can come to me, Krishna says, or to the planet where Krishna lives. Yanti madhyajinopi mam, Krishna says. So this all depends on your activities. So everything depends on what you're doing or what you want to do. Finally, it boils down to that aspect. But samsara, rotating, wandering within this material world from one body to another or from one planet to another is not advised. Right? So all the scriptures, especially Bhagavad Gita also, Krishna says, like this, you've been wandering, rotating from one place to another, one place to another place. And like this, how long will go on? That's what is going on in our life actually. Without any rest, we're just going on, one body to another, one place. So this is not a proper situation for the soul. Soul is not actually not meant to be going on like this, rotating from different planets to one planet to other planet, taking different bodies. It's supposed to go back to spiritual world, go back home, and take shelter under Krishna's lotus feet. So material existence in that way is called samsara. Very repetition of birth and death is happening for all of us. Bhutva bhutva praliyate. You take your birth in some form of body, you live for some time, and then you have to give up this body. Right? This is what is happening now. So you take your birth in some form of body. One type of body, you take birth, you live for some time, and then you have to give up this body. So we have to accept another body, again live for some time, then give up that body, and again accept another body. This is called samsara. So the meaning of samsara, Prabhupada is explaining. One body you got now, and at one point of time you give up this body. Again you take one more body. Again after some time you give that body. Again take, like this, repetition of birth and death going on by taking different bodies with all of us is called samsara. This place where this is happening is called samsara. Right? Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam. This is what is happening with all of us. So material world, Prabhupada next explains, the samsara means what? This material world where repetition of birth and death is happening. Okay, I may go on again taking birth, again taking birth, dying, birth, death, no problem. But in between this birth and death, the experience of your life is like miserable. That's what Prabhupada is going to explain now. This material world is compared to a forest fire. So what happens in forest fire? Prabhupada explains. The material world is compared to Davanala, a forest fire. As we have experienced, no one goes to the forest to set a fire, but still it takes place. Right? In our life also, we don't expect any calamity, any misery, any trouble, any pain. But invariably it is there. You don't want, but it is there. You don't want, suddenly you become diseased, and suddenly or next moment you're troubled by somebody. Like this, one or the other problem always will be going through. That is called Davanala or forest fire. Right? Just like nobody wants to go to the forest and set fire. Similarly, no one within this material world wants to be unhappy. All of us want to be very happy, happily situated, always blissful. But much against our wish, what's going on in our life? Everyone is trying to be very happy, but one is forced to accept unhappiness. Just see. What is happening with us. We don't want to be unhappy, but we are forced to go through miserable situation. Right? In this material world, from time immemorial to the present moment, there have been occasional wars, world wars, even though people have devised various means to stop wars. Right? From long time, the wars have been continuously happening. Even though people have, they have found out trying to find solutions to stop wars, but they're not able to stop wars. War means miserable situation for everybody. It is a big anxious situation for the common people, because anytime anything can happen. And at the war front, two countries, soldiers from either countries, they're all fighting. Right? So war is a sort of like a very tension situation, or a situation of forest fire it is. Right? Unhappy situation. So Prabhupada is remembering his younger days. When I was a young man, there was a League of Nations. Right? After the World War I, different countries came together in the whole world, and they formed League of Nations so that they can maintain some peace and harmony. 1920, after the First World War, different nations formed the League of Nations just to arrange for peaceful living among themselves. Right? No one wanted war. But again, there was a forest fire, the Second World War. Maybe 1939, after 20 years, immediately there was one more war. Now they have devised the United Nations. Right? After that, United Nations was formed. But war is still going on. The Vietnam War, the Pakistan War, and many others. 1973, Pakistan War was going on. And just like now also you see Russia-Ukraine war going on. There is tension always between India, Pakistan again going on. Now Iran and Israel are fighting. Again, China and Taiwan are fighting. Like this, everywhere wars are going on. So United Nations also is not able to stop the war. War is still going on. So you may try your best to live very peacefully, but nature will not allow you there must be war. This is how material world is. You may, do your best efforts to have a very comfortable, peaceful life, harmonious life. No. The material world's nature is that it will not allow you to be peacefully living here. That's why it's called Dukhalayam Ashashvatam. Krishna says material world means it is filled with miseries. It's a temporary place. There must be always situation of tension and anxiety and war-like circumstances. After this warlike feeling is always going on, and this warlike feeling is always going on, not only between nation and nation. Now we are talking about a bigger scale, the world level where tension is going on. This warlike feeling is not only at that level, even at the between man to man, neighbor to neighbor, or even between husband and wife, father and son, the family also is going on. Right? So this warlike feeling is going on, tension, anxiety. Right? Two neighbors have fought, they're thinking what to do. Right? Like, they nobody want to see each other's face. Tension and sort of ill feelings between each other. So this is called Davanala. Samsara Davanala. This world, material world, where repeated birth and death we are experiencing, actually is a place of warlike experience, warlike situation, circumstance around us. It is called Navanala, forest fire. No one goes to the forest to set fire, but automatically, by the friction of dried bamboo, sparks arise and the forest catches fire. So nobody goes to forest to set fire. Right? Forest fire, when it happens, it's two bamboos, or, some spark of fire happens because of the heat. And once such sparks begins, like that, in our life also we see how the tensions have got escalated, or how anxieties we are experiencing every now and then. You go to the source, not easy to find out. Likewise, small thing it began, it is blazing now. That's what in our life also we can experience. Similarly, although we do not want unhappiness, by our dealings we create enemies and there is fighting and war. That is called samsara davanala. In fact, Prabhupada is trying to explain to us one of the prayers written by our acharyas, our Parampara Acharya by name Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, wherein every day morning during 4:30 a.m. Mangalarati, we sing this to glorify Guru. The very first word of this prayer set of prayers is Samsara Davanala. Prabhupada is going to explain these 8 prayers, 8 stanzas actually. Right? So, we don't want happiness, but our interaction, our social intercourse with different people, different living entities, is creating a war-like situation, fighting situation, and enmity, bitterness, a lot of undercurrents, like these things are going on. It's called Samsara Davanala. So we'll discuss more in the next session. Prabhupada is going to explain in detail all these 8 stanzas. We will continue in the next session. So if anybody has any questions or any clarifications, you can write in the comment box. We'll get back to you. Thank you, everybody. Hare Krishna.